why do you want to publish 12 books in a year? That was the question that somebody asked me a month ago. And what I've discovered as I have continued to work towards this goal all year long, this was the goal I set for myself at the start of 2025. And I said, I'm going to go all in. And going all in, I said, what does that look like for me? I had to have some kind of parameters around what it meant to go all in as a published author. Because I've written books before, I almost 90% done and then not done anything with them. So I said, something's going to be different this year. And so for me, that felt like I needed to start publishing. I need to publish more. And just so that I could get the words out and I could learn the process and I could go through it. And I knew that if I went through the process of publishing, I would get some kind of insight and then I would learn something else and something else and something else. 12 books done this year. Well, I want to give you an update. It is currently April 27th, and I have just had 2 books published and go live this week. And I'm so excited. And earlier this year in January, I did publish one book to Kindle. And so I have one ebook that is out there. So right now, as we're getting ready to wrap up the end of month 4 in 2025, I can say that I have successfully published 3 out of my 12 books. And I also have one book that is fully written that was supposed to come out in February. That was my February book. That's what I spent a lot of February writing, but I didn't get that book fully edited and published. And at the time, I had so much inner resistance. And I want to speak to that for just a moment, because sometimes you're going to feel like there's something you can't quite answer, you can't quite do. And you've got to be able to go inside of yourself and say, is this just fear that's holding me back? Do I need to force myself to push through, or is this something else? And in this case, I did check in with myself. I knew when I set my goals this year that I wanted to do things differently. And my mentor had shared a workshop in December about how he sets his goals. And he says he no longer sets this huge long list of goals. He said he could just write and write and write, and so could I, a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish and just so many goals. But he couldn't hold those on his mind. And so as he was just going about his normal day, he couldn't just stay focused on so many different goals and just be thinking about and creating space for all those goals. He said, so he started just doing 3 goals a year. And he got very specific about what these goals were, and then he 10x them. If you've read the book, 10x is greater than 2x, this is that concept. So for me, I could give myself the challenge of just writing one book. I was like, how do I 10x that? And so this year was the year I said, I'm going to take things seriously and I'm going to publish and promote 12 books this year. So that's really what that goal is about going bigger by going narrow and restricted in my goal. But I didn't set a goal about what type of books it had to be, and which has been really interesting for me because that was my intuition guiding me to say, do 12 books. And I felt, yes, I can say 100% yes to this goal. Now, what does that look like? What's that going to become? I don't know. I didn't know when I set that goal back at rolling into January. So I just started writing my first book. I wrote what I knew, and then I learned how to publish, and I did what I knew. And all along the way, I'm just learning and growing. February went faster because I had already written one book, so I had a sense of how much to write, what it was going to take to build this book. But then I stalled in the editing process, and something didn't feel right. So what I want to challenge you with as we go into leaving the month of April, going into the month of May here in 2025 is setting your intention, looking back at what goals you set for yourself at the start of the year. And if you had too many, go ahead and narrow it down. I set 3, and 1 about my weight and 2 about my business. And those have been my intention. But the big one that always comes up for me every single day is I'm like 12 books, 12 books, 12 books. And I'm not stopping. I'm staying persistent until I have those 12 books done. What that looks like in 2025, how that's going to flesh out. More is to come. More is to be discovered. But doing this journey, going through this, has really opened me up to even the content that I'm going to create, the message I'm going to share. I see the ways that I can be exploring my journey and sharing that with you, going live with you. And I'm building a community with this has come from this journey. So if you want to engage with me more, you want to be in a community with other people who are publishing their first book or their next book, using their book either to promote their business or to become their business, earning profit from your books, join me on Skool. That's the name of the community. So it's skool.com/published. Join me inside the published community on Skool. And this is where we're doing all these conversations. This is where we're going deep. And we have community meetups where we're just working on our books together, along with other great resources to support you in your journey. So join me over there on Skool. It's going to be a fun time for new emerging authors looking to self-publish on Amazon and grow their business some way, shape, or form with a book. It's so much fun. I can't wait to see you there. Thanks so much for joining me. And until next week's update, have a great one.